You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Lexmark Technologies Limited was the major partner at the first AmCham President's Breakfast for 2018, and Business Access TV has the highlights. Stay with us.
Jodel, for persons who may not know much about Lexmark, share with us what you offer.
Okay, great. Well, we're not the old Lexmark where most people knew Lexmark as just being primarily a printer manufacturer. In fact, we're an imaging solution services company that serve customers in 170 countries across the globe. So we're a global company, essentially. And as ironic as it may sound, Lexmark has spent probably the last 15 years trying to help customers print less with some of our imaging solutions. And that's mainly because we understand that there's really two major challenges that a lot of customers find is trying to manage between two very connected but different types of information, paper and digital. And our focus is to help when that intersection of paper and digital comes, and how do we help customers manage through that with our solutions and our services.
You're headquartered in USA, Lexington, Kentucky to be exact. How do you see your relationship prospects in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean?
Well, for me, I think it's a great opportunity for us. In fact, I think it's been untapped by an organization like Lexmark. While we're global, we have a primary focus in the U.S., or a strong presence in the U.S., I should say. We've been trying to ramp up our headcount in the Caribbean, and with the Caribbean being an extension of Latin America, we've been able to push resources towards it and understand that there's tons of opportunities. Without speaking on some of the customers we've just recently been able to obtain in the Caribbean, there's quite a few, and we're looking to grow beyond that. And but us being here today is one example of how we're certainly looking to enhance our efforts in the Caribbean.
Allow me to extend a warm Jamaican Bunununos welcome to you this morning. It's going to be great. My name is Nadine McLeod-Dyke. I'm your guide through the program this morning. This is the first AmCham President's Breakfast for 2018. And this breakfast is to showcase the new member, Lexmark, and to welcome them to Jamaica's business sector. We would also like to welcome other new members and not so new members. Welcome. Help us welcome. It is great to be here this morning. It is terrific to see familiar faces and not so familiar faces, new faces. I must say, networking this morning is going to be as stimulating as a nice, well-brewed, freshly brewed cup of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee. And talk about stimulating, we can also talk about effervescent, which leads us to our next speaker, who can be described as effervescent. And she's, of course, the president of AmCham Jamaica, Miss Alison Peart. Help me welcome her.
Friends, thanks again. A brief statement about the breakfast, because one of the things I said when I took over as president was we're going to push networking. It's wonderful to be a member of an organization, but if you don't know each other, you don't know each other's business, you don't talk to each other, then are we really an organization? So this is part of that push. And as a well-known international chamber, we're one of the largest federated business organizations in the world. People think of AmCham as just the US, but we're in over 100 countries that when you're part of AmCham, you can touch, you can feel. Here at AmCham Jamaica, we want our members to know about us, know about the world, know about the US, have great connections. So, if you're an AmCham member, a President's Breakfast is available for you to come, host, and promote and market yourself. Now, we are pleased to see that Lexmark, one of our newest members, I love members, we want you to get to know the services of our members. So Lexmark is not just a printing company. I hear they're in everything, you know. People think I'm an accountant, but I keep saying I did a chemistry degree. Nowadays, you must do everything. So I'm sure they're gonna come and tell us about everything that they do. And our President Breakfast, we add value because we not only give you networking, but you get to learn about the wonderful products and the wonderful things that our AmCham members are doing.
Economic growth in Jamaica over the last 10 years, we'd say, has demonstrated periods of growth, but interspersed with instances of decline, typically caused by external shocks. And so we are very vulnerable, we're very susceptible to climate impact. And so a lot of our focus now, and rightly so, and I think heightened by the experiences of the last year in the region, is on building climate resilience for the economy. It's not enough that we can forecast a certain growth level for agriculture and for mining and quarrying, and then you have an episode of adverse weather and you have to revise downward. And we want to see, how do we insulate, how do we build, how do we mitigate against these climate impacts. And so the government of Jamaica started in 2010, on a number of initiatives and reforms supported by the IMF. In 2010, we have the standby arrangement. 2013, we had the extended fund facility of the IMF, the EFF. And then in late 2016, we have what we have here now, the precautionary standby arrangement, the PSBA. And really, it's the government's medium-term economic program supported by the multilaterals. So largely think of the IMF, but robust support comes from the World Bank, from the Inter-American Development Bank, from the Caribbean Development Bank, from the EU, quite a bit of multilateral and bilateral support. Jamaica enjoys very good relations with quite a few of our international development partners, and that's significant. Another significant feature is in the context of this reform program, that in all the initiatives that have been undertaken, we've seen what we call political continuity, that even as administrations change, there's general consensus and ownership and buy-in about the program and the tenets of the program. We agree as to what needs to be done in terms of trying to right-size the Jamaican economy to experience and to create conditions of greater economic growth and job creation, because you can have a period of jobless growth, as you saw, as economies emerged out of the 2008 crisis, the global financial crisis. You saw economies, the US in particular, growing, but no jobs were being created. And there was some concern there. And then another concern, you have to look at the issue of inequality, that as economies are growing, you can find widening disparities in income levels, the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. And you know, that's not sustainable, that's not tenable. And so we speak of inclusive growth and job creation to try to mitigate and have this balanced growth phenomenon. With all the activity that you're seeing, how come the growth numbers are not more robust? And we said the activities that you're seeing are genuine and they are real activities, and a lot of this is happening in the real sector, in the formal sector, as against, you know, in the informal sector. Yes, we are attended by a significant level of informality in the Jamaican economy. Some years ago, they estimated some 40% of GDP is informal sector. But when you say informality, it's not all illegal activities. You can have genuine activities taking place, but people want to remain below the radar. And so we have to create conditions to induce formality. And that's why a grouping such as this and seeing a number of business persons coming together and people who are looking at opportunities, creating employment, very encouraging. And so you see genuine activity taking place. Part of the challenge is a lot of the activity, particularly the construction you're seeing, a lot of the construction, there is a high leakage content to a lot of what's happening, that a lot of the material that's being employed and so are coming in from abroad. There's a lot of imports. So you see the imports numbers going up even while you see the activity going on. But no doubt it's very encouraging for the types of activities that we are seeing, and it should promise increased growth. And so while you see some of the Asian tigers, you know, in terms of the Singapores and the Koreas, as they began to experience the growth over the 80s and 90s, it took some time for that to be entrenched. We are undertaking and have undertaken quite a bit of reform, and it will take some time for that to begin to take root. A lot of the construction you're seeing, from road construction to residential and non-residential construction, as those are completed, you should see a reduction in transaction costs, as it's easier to conduct and transact business, easier to get from point A to point B. Labor supply is closer to where production is taking place because of the types of residential and non-residential construction. As you see the construction in hotel room capacity, there's a time 10 years ago that if you had a double and tripling of tourism demand, it wouldn't benefit us much. We could only increase prices because we had a limited stock of rooms. But now you're seeing the type of expansion that increases the capacity of the economy. As you increase room stock, as you bring in more flights and increase flight frequency and increase air seat capacity, those are the things that all go well for an economy. As you begin to convert idle factory space and you're creating spaces for BPOs and other investors, and you're creating lands and converting lands to productive uses, those are the types of reforms that increase the capacity of the economy. And those are the things that all go well for the types of sustainable growth we want. So the current year, fiscal year 17-18 that just ended, and so for our new investors, we run the April to March fiscal year cycle. And so for March 2018 that just ended, that was the fiscal year 17-18. And so let's look at some of the numbers. We expect the Jamaican economy to grow by some 0.9%. And this would be the fifth consecutive year of fiscal year growth in terms of growing over 5 years. And that's significant for us. Again, the numbers, we want them to be higher, more robust in terms of larger numbers of growth. But it's still significant that we are seeing, consecutive growth. And we're expecting that to be entrenched, meaning we expect that to continue and to increase. And we're going to speak to what we call the upside potential for higher growth levels, and as well as the downside risk. What are those factors that can cause them to not materialize? But we expect for 0.9% for the April to March 17-18 fiscal year. It reflects an estimated expansion in both the goods producing and services industries. The growth outturn is predicated on the combined effect of actual GDP growth for the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year, April to June 2017. You had a decline in the economy, largely because of some significant rains we had. March, April, May, June, 4 months of rain. And let me say it for our visitors in particular, 4 months of rain that caused 4 billion damage, Jamaican dollars. That's 0.2% of our 2016 GDP. We do the damage and loss assessments, and the numbers came, and that's just from 4 months of rain. The flooding and the infrastructure damage, and the images are stark. And so it's not just damage in the agricultural sector, agriculture, forestry, and fishing, but also mining and quarrying, and a lot of factory downtime. So even while they were trying to build capacity, putting in new broilers, and trying to expand, as the heavy rains came, it caused a lot of downtime. And so we are very susceptible, and it's a concern, and obviously on the radar for us as policymakers. And so for April to June 2017, we had a decline of 0.1% in real GDP. July to September 2017, we had 0.8% growth. And for October to December 2017, we had 1.1% growth. And then for January to March, we're going to go to the country later this month to give our typical update. What we do, 6 weeks after the quarter ends, we will update and give our assessment. And as PIOJ, the Planning Institute, and then Statin, after 3 months, a quarter after the quarter that has ended, they will give the actual outturn. And so while we predicted for December 1.1% forecasted, the actual growth was 1.1%. And so we take it, a very robust team at the PIOJ, and we as these things go, you have a band of, 0.5% or 2% band that you may be off, and that's considered best practice. That's very good if you are that, but we are fairly well within that in terms of accuracy of forecast. So we'll go to the country later and give an estimate. Some data is still coming in, but at this point we're looking at likely maybe a 1.7% for the January to March quarter 2018. And so combined, we're expecting at about a 0.9% for the fiscal year. The growth largely reflects improved outturn in the key macroeconomic variables, higher levels of employment, and an uptick in industrial production. We follow the industrial production index, and yes, what you are seeing is real. Production is increasing, and that's very encouraging. We are seeing increased real sector performance, boosted mainly by the reopening of the Alpart alumina refinery, plant expansion and increased capacity utilization. So they're building out capacity and using up more of what is there. We have seen strong growth in tourism arrivals. And as we've said, it's, you know, it was hit, the overall numbers by the heavy rainfall we had over the last year. We had a drought period just before the heavy rainfall. So the vagaries of climate continue to impact us. And it particularly affected agriculture, forestry and fishing, and the mining and quarrying, and the electricity and water supply industries.
Hi, my name is Jodell Felix. I'm a strategic segment consultant with Lexmark International, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, selling organs just to get by. The illegal practice is leaving many scarred and broke. That, plus company news, the top business stories, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
It's Season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Lexmark provides imaging solutions and services to help customers like you to print, to protect, and to manage your output environment, not just the printer manufacturer. So that's why I want to make sure I mention that. But what truly separates Lexmark from the rest of the industry, from our whole competitive landscape in terms of print, is our industry expertise, is who we serve. So we have hired for many years, we have 25 years of experience in understanding the trends, the challenges that come in some of the various vertical industries we serve. So what's traditionally known in the print industry is that you think of brands like Hewlett-Packard, where Lexmark may not necessarily have the brand recognition as you will find with some of the other competitors. But what we've done is that we have serviced some of the top customers in the various industries. And what I mean by that is, for example, 9 out of the top 10 global banks are all Lexmark customers. 85% of the top retailers in the world globally are Lexmark customers. 48 of the top 50 pharmacies are Lexmark customers. You know, it's funny because Rebecca and I had an engagement with a customer in the U.S. once, and we sat down with this customer. And I made some observations as far as what they were doing, and I said to myself, he's like, I don't know much about Lexmark. So my question is, sir, I'm going to make the assumption that you own a television in your house. He said, yes. I said, okay, where'd you buy the television? His response was Best Buy. Next question, I said, so I assume at some point, whether it's with yourself or your family, you had to purchase some medications. Where'd you go get the medication? He said, CVS Pharmacy. I said, okay. I took it a step further. I didn't ask, do you have children? Yes. Whether they attend school. They attend school at Miami-Dade County Schools. Excellent. And then my final question for him, I then go, so with your home, I assume that you have home improvement projects and things of that nature. He said, yes. I said, so where do you buy your home improvement products? He goes, Home Depot. My response is, those are all Lexmark customers. Every single one of them. And that kind of painted a bigger picture in terms of us not just being a printer manufacturer, but going far beyond just print. So we may not have the highest market share. We certainly have the top customers in some of the various industries that some of you serve today, which is banking, retail, finance, et cetera. So before we make some of these dynamic imaging solutions and services, it's important that we understand what our customers do. I mentioned before that we have industry consultants in some of the various vertical industries. And what we're hearing when we speak to customers like you is that there are a lot of challenges stemming from the very difficult task of having to manage two very different but very connected types of information, and that's digital and paper. I think we can all agree. And there are going to be tons of printed information, whether it's invoices, whether it's, you know, in banking, if you have a prospectus or a loan application or whatever the situation may be, you're still going to have tons of paper information. We understand paper is quite intensive. We understand that many customers still use a lot of paper. And we also understand that it's kind of hard to completely escape from paper. And then you look at the other side of this digital process, and you have things that are electronic, digital files, like an ERP file, like an email. But in the real world, what really happens is they intersect. And it is at this intersection is where you have some of the greatest challenges and the greatest potentials for risk, for data breaches, and all kinds of concerns. And this is where Lexmark thrives. And this is where we can certainly serve our customers and helping our customers manage this intersection of print versus digital. And this is what's happening today.
What was your goal for this morning's breakfast, and was that goal achieved?
The goal was to bring information to our members. So we started out with the PIOJ because people hear about growth and we wanted them to understand what was happening in the Jamaican market. You know, a great way to start your morning off to understand how is our employment going? What growth do we expect? What industries should we be investing in? And so I think that was, you know, Dr. Henry did a really good job of that. With Lexmark, we weren't sure if they're just printers because, you know, I know of Lexmark as, you know, a printing. I didn't know that they did so many things, that they did business solutions around, should you have two printers? Should you have one printer? I mean, I travel and I'm always walking with people. So the point of putting things in a cloud, and you know, you've heard of the cloud, but what does it really mean? So for me, it accomplished a lot because it gave me more information about Lexmark. What do they do? What can they do for us? So for me, that was accomplished.
We're also almost at the middle of the year 2018. What's next for AmCham?
We have a lot more things. We have a data protection seminar coming up. We're also open to more President's Breakfast. We want our members to come and showcase their products. We also, in June, the American Chamber will be coming to Jamaica. So we're hosting a pretty big event in June where our compatriots are bringing State Department people here to Jamaica. We are also looking to our members for more opportunities to do more for them because we're a member of our organization and we're not here to dictate to our members. We want them to tell us. So we've got our ears open. We have a meeting coming up with our members to hear from them. What are the other things you want us to do? So we have a lot more coming. We want to do more membership mingles as well.
That's it from us here. Until next time, do stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Well, of course, we are committed to Jamaica. We've been manufacturing here now for the last 45 years, and we have seen the impact and the significant role that manufacturing has played in terms of supporting Jamaica's economy. So we are very happy to be here. We think it's something that we must do. It gives you an opportunity to showcase your products and services, and of course sensitize the general public as to exactly what you have to offer. We actually operate in every single category. We have decorative paints, which are commonly called house paints. We have industrial paints, that's why like heavy industries, bridges, roads, protective and marine, chemical coatings, otherwise called furniture finishes. Some of the lovely things you see here in our booth are our products. Things like wood and shingle stain, polyurethane varnish, marine spar varnish, glass lacquers and sanding sealers. We have a wide array of products. We also have automotive products. Oh yes, you can spray your car, your boat, whatever you wish to spray. We're the largest paint company in the world. And of course, we have access to the latest cutting-edge technologies, primarily from our corporate offices, as well as locally. At our manufacturing facility, we have 2 laboratories, a research and development laboratory and a quality control laboratory as well. So we're constantly testing, benchmarking, reinventing ourselves, innovating as we move along. And we have access to global technologies also. So this little device is called a spectrophotometer, which it's a color matching tool. Our new color system is called Color Snap. Those are the wide array of colors, thousands of colors. So what you do is, say you have a handbag, a piece of fabric, anything at all, what you'd simply do is just put this here and hit the scan button. It's an app, so you just hit scan and ta-da, magic. So what we do is just apply the formula and mix the color in minutes. The spectrophotometers has to be specially ordered, but you would be able to get it in any of our stores in very short order. In many instances, our prices are extremely competitive. In many instances, we are not necessarily the lowest priced, but of course there's so much value to be derived from our products that sometimes pricing is not really an issue, and the discerning consumer gravitates towards our products, whether or not they think it's possibly a bit pricey or it's reasonably priced. But in most instances, I'd say we are very competitive as far as prices are concerned. In terms of improving Expo, I think we have a very good template. We have come a long way. The bar has been raised, and each time it happens, I see improvements. But of course, there's always room for further improvement. Probably we'll need larger space. So apart from these 2 facilities, side by side, we probably need to look possibly inside the National Stadium or elsewhere. Of course, the whole issue of technology can be increased as well. And of course, we could look at a virtual version of Expo. Also, I think these are some of the things we could possibly look at in terms of enhancing the product.
I'm Shani Jajo, and you're watching Business Access.
On this first Saturday in Youth Month, as you might expect, our young people take the spotlight. I'm Theodore Henry. Also in the show, we tackle some common misconceptions about epilepsy, otherwise called fits. Stay tuned.
We share a lot of sensitive information and data, and once criminals get access to this information, indeed people are at risk based on the sensitivity of the information that they share.
The most powerful way to learn anything is by doing. Up next, students discover the healing properties of medicinal plants by making soaps at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and we had to find a way to survive. And so for the plants, the natural gift of the Creator, we could rely on it to guide us into what we needed to do. I didn't know about Fenzik and your pharmaceutical things. I know about bush. So if I had a headache, I knew as a child that I should use the leaves of 3 mackerel bush and a piece of cloth and tie it on my head, and the pain would go.
The use of herbs as medicine. While this age-old practice has been overlooked by many, the Institute of Jamaica saw it fitting to mount an exhibition on medicinal plants of Jamaica and their uses, bringing to the present the medicinal habits used in the past.
So at least 330 plants have been found growing in Jamaica, have been identified as having medicinal value. Of that 334, at least 193 have been assessed for their biochemical activities, and 23 of those are actually endemic plants.
Not every plant, though in its natural form is good, is accessible to everybody. And knowing the information about the plant and wanting to get that into the hands of the people, some of our scientists have begun to study extensively some of these plants to see how they can be formulated in such a way so that they can be packaged and be accessible to the public.
You just don't wake up and say, Eureka, I have found it. They would have learned from the people in the community what plants were used for what purpose. So you know all those things in your childhood because they were continually using the plants of nature to assist in what they were doing.
Ever since I was a child, my mom always said me go break a piece of bush to make tea if the tea bag run out. But what was I getting out of it? I had no clue. And sometimes people say it worked, some other people say it didn't work. So that's why I really did the research to find out if these plants actually work. So we started only making butterbrush, which is also known as Callistemon viminalis. And then we broadened and we focused on lemongrass. We focused on most of the herbs that are used by native Jamaicans to cure different ailments.
In addition to the showcase, students from the Dunrobin, Chetola Park and the Rollington Town primary schools were scientists for a day as they participated in one of the institution's monthly and afternoon with a scientist sessions. Modeled around the Ministry of Education's academic calendar, the mandate of the program is to expose students to and encourage an appreciation for different disciplines of science through fun-filled scientific activities.
I've been promoting entrepreneurship, especially in the medicinal plant industry. So one of the things I do is to give back. So I volunteer even at my children's school. We have an entrepreneurial club where I teach them to make different products from plants.
I learned that they can use herbs to make soap.
It was very exciting because I got to see
what dangerous chemicals they use in it and how is it correct to go on the skin. First, we had to put some coconut oil in like a metal cup. Then we had to put shea butter in it and melt it. And then we put it in sodium hydroxide. And it was very, very, very hot. I spilled it a couple times, but it was okay, just a little clean up. And it began to get thick, so I was like, what should I do now? And she was like, just mix it, it's normal. And then we got to put what we want in there. I put charcoal in there, and then I made a swirl in the mold. It was a very good experience.
I'm so happy our students were able to participate in the activity held here at the Institute, where they learn more about medicinal plants. I believe it's very important for them to know that the plants that are found right there in their backyards can be used for healing of ailments that they'll have, the common cold, whatever the ailment may be.
This is what I would like to engage the people in. Go back to their communities and learn how people lived, a generation which came out of slavery, could neither read nor write, and yet they were able to contain themselves and to live. We want the students to have some respect for the heritage of this country, because it is going to guide you to the future.
We continue the celebration of Youth Month with our next feature, which showcases two young men who demonstrate the heights that can be reached through hard work, determination, and a little support.
For those students going into 5th form and 6th form this year, you might be a little bit nervous. Why? Because you have the CAPE and CSEC subjects to sit. But don't worry, we have invited two young men who recently completed their examinations to speak to you on how their experience was and to give you some tips on how you can do your best this year. Joining me are Gawain Wright and Dwayne Henriquez. Thanks for joining me, guys.
You're welcome, miss.
Okay, Gawain. So, which school are you coming from?
I'm coming from the Mona High School, and I sat chemistry, biology, physics, maths, English, electrical, geography, and social studies. I got a 1 in all sciences, a 1 in math, English, electrical, and I got 2 in social study and geography.
Congratulations. So, okay, so I guess you can talk to students now, give them some of the studying techniques that you used to do so well in your exams. What are the tricks that you used?
Well, for me, I ensured that I became comfortable with the information that was given to me. And so when it is drawing near to examination period, I don't have to stress about getting that information inside because it would already been in my mind. The next thing I do is I make a study timetable, so I spend equal amount of time in each subject area. The next thing I do is I try my best to have interest in all my subjects, because without interest, you will not do well in that subject area.
Awesome. So Gawain, were there any persons in your life who helped you to, to push yourself to do well academically?
Yes, indeed, miss. I would first of all like to say it wouldn't be possible without God. And my sister was the main driving force behind me. She would be there, she would give me the motivation that I needed, and she would help me with my work. She's a scientist herself, and so if I have any issues with homeworks or stuff like that, she would give me advice and show me the right path.
Okay, tell me about some of the activities that you were involved in at Mona, some of the prizes that you received. I'm sure you got some.
I was a science club president the Maths Club president, and I was a part of the Spanish club also.
And the final question is, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
I see myself in a lab with all my students, and we are doing work that we all enjoy and trying to better the scientific area of this world.
Thank you so much, Gawain. And I hope that you will achieve your goal of becoming a lab technician just like your sister. And now we will be joined by CAPE student Dwayne Henriquez from the Spalding High School in Clarendon. So Dwayne, you just completed CAPE. Was it upper 6 or lower 6? Tell me a little bit about the grades and the subjects that you did at Spalding High.
Well, I'm from Cobbler in Manchester. I did MOB, which is Management of Business, Principles of Accounts, Sociology, Caribbean Studies. I got 3 2s and 3 4s.
Awesome. So, Dwayne, did you know that you'd have done as well as you did, and why?
I have a lot of persons around me motivating me to do well. They helped me academically, they motivated me, and also financially. Without these persons, I wouldn't have done so well, as I would be worried about things like finances, and if no one really cared, or that sort of things like that.
Okay. What will you be doing for the rest of the year?
I'll be attending the UE at the University of the West Indies, doing Bachelor of Science degree in Banking and Finance.
What is your advice to students like Gawain who will be sitting CAPE subjects this year?
My advice to students doing CAPE this year is that you must manage your time wisely because it's a lot of work. The CAPE syllabus is very wide. Just practice independent learning, read widely, so you can keep in check with your teachers, do your IAs on time, which is a very important part of doing CAPE and a very time-consuming part of doing CAPE. Hard work is one of the kindest things, and it won't disappoint. Once you work hard, you can get anything you want in life.
Thank you so much, Gawain.
Thanks.
So there you have it. Wise advice from Gawain and Dwayne. If you're entering 6th or 5th form this year, I hope that you were jotting down those tips, and I hope you were thinking about what they said. All the best in your future endeavors. I know you will do well.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. An incentive scheme has been established to aggressively tackle murders and violence against vulnerable groups such as women, children, and the elderly. It will be operated through Crime Stop.
The Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch, the Criminal Investigative Branch, with the support of major organized crime and anti-corruption agencies, will bring increased focus to investigating these incidents, to identify and apprehend individuals associated with these acts. These branches will work with the Center for Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse, that will be strengthened to adequately investigate the crimes against these particularly vulnerable groups.
The National Security Ministry will be undertaking a comprehensive review of the parole process within the Department of Correctional Services. The directive comes from the National Security Council following a meeting in which the security forces raised concerns about parole being granted to offenders whose release had been assessed as being contrary to the public interest given the magnitude of their criminal records. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is insisting that schools must adhere to government's policies that restrict corporal punishment and remove mandatory auxiliary fees, particularly at the early childhood level.
We have been literally saying to our children, a slap is right. When that child leaves, then a kick is right, a stab is right, and then shooting is right. And it only takes one to create the violence and mayhem.
Prime Minister Holness was addressing the official handing over for the newly completed Jamaica-China Goodwill Infant School.
Our constitutionally established obligation to the children of Jamaica to provide them with free pre-primary education.
In the meantime, Prime Minister Holness is seeking to assure citizens that Jamaica's sovereignty is being protected in all dealings with the Chinese government.
The government of Jamaica has been very strategic, and the sovereignty of Jamaica is always foremost in my mind. So when we engage with that as a non-negotiable part of the partnership.
The National Housing Trust will be spending $54 million on research to determine the feasibility of using bamboo as housing material. The project will be carried out in phases starting in mid-2019.
Bamboo, the world over, is used as a building product. And we want to be able to benefit as much as possible from that, inclusive of the fact that it is stronger than steel, the tensile strength.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government will be examining its land bank to see how public sector representative bodies can partner with the National Housing Trust to develop the lands identified.
We will work out a program on the housing front that I'm sure will be very enticing and attractive to our policemen and women, our nurses, our teachers, and our public sector workers generally.
11 student nurses will receive critical care training under the Ministry of Health United Kingdom Bilateral Critical Care Training Program. The nurses will train for 7 months in Jamaica and another 5 in the UK.
Between the China-Jamaica MOU and the Jamaica-UK MOU, it has basically more than doubled the capacity, right? At least double, but I suspect more than double the capacity for critical care training for nurses in the country.
Patients and patient care providers at the National Chest Hospital now have easier access to the facility with the commissioning of 2 new elevators.
You can't have a situation where you have a hospital and patients or doctors or nurses can't move from one floor to the next efficiently. I mean, you compromise lives in the process, and that's not what we're about. We're about saving lives.
A diagnostic and early childhood intervention center has been opened at the Sam Sharp Teachers College, giving special needs children in Western Jamaica access to psychoeducational evaluation.
I want to see that come back now, that we track every child that is born and make sure they are developing appropriately, and where there is need for early intervention, it takes place.
The second phase of the Tablet in Schools program is on in earnest after 2 contracts worth $30 million were signed with Geotech Vision Limited and Innovative Corporate Solutions Limited.
We now need to use technology in the teaching and learning process, because we cannot advance and take our place among the leading nations of the world if we do not continue to increase access to technology.
And finally, direct flights from Russia are now arriving in the country once every 10 days. The first direct flight, Nordwind Airlines Airbus 322 from Moscow, arrived at the Sangster International Airport recently, and the tourism minister says there are plans for weekly flights.
Now you're flying to Jamaica, you're flying to Cuba, and you're flying to Dumrep. Here is a wonderful opportunity for us to really pull that together and to offer to the Russian visitors multi-destination experiences.
Those are some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
Imagine this. You're out and about and someone falls to the ground and starts convulsing. This person is having an attack of what we Jamaicans call fits. You want to help, but what do you do? Well, if your treatment involves a dirty shoe, it could cause more harm than good. If you want to know what actually should be done, watch this.
What do Socrates, Theodore Roosevelt, Charles Dickens, Alfred Nobel, Prince, Lil Wayne, Elton John, Danny Glover, and Hugo Weaving all have in common? If you said they're all famous, that's not quite the answer I'm looking for. all these prominent figures are believed to have or had what many know as fits or seizures associated with epilepsy, one of the oldest and least understood medical conditions.
It is not duppy take you over, it is not spirits. We have these myths that we do need to dispel in Jamaica. Some people think it's contagious, and it is not contagious. You cannot catch epilepsy. Anyone, anytime can get epilepsy.
So, what is epilepsy? It's a disorder of the brain characterized by recurrent seizures, which are short periods of involuntary movements involving a part of the body, a partial or focal seizure, or the entire body, a generalized seizure. Our brains run on electricity, which is produced by cells called neurons. In some people, these neurons sometimes produce a sudden electrical burst or power surge, resulting in a seizure.
Epilepsy is a chronic disorder, just like asthma or diabetes. It's a disorder of the brain. And so when a patient has a seizure, they do have unusual behavior at the time of their seizure. But otherwise, they're usually quite normal. It's also not a mental illness. People with epilepsy are not crazy. It's a brain disorder, but it's not a mental illness.
The cause of epilepsy can be genetic,
meaning that you can be born with a genetic disorder that predisposes your brain to be abnormally wired, and that you are more likely to produce these epileptic discharges and have seizures recurrently. Sometimes you may have, when the baby is being formed in the first few months of their embryological life, you may have an abnormality happening with the brain formation.
Then, there are other conditions that can occur at any time during someone's life that can cause epilepsy.
Those conditions that are acquired would be those related to a physical injury to the brain or an infection in the brain, such as meningitis, which is an infection of the covering around the brain, or an encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain substance itself, as well as you may have stroke, decreased blood supply, nutrients going to the brain, also causing seizures and epilepsy.
Seizures do not always involve convulsions or jerking of the body. There are in fact over 20 different seizure types. Many are quite subtle, as in the case of 12-year-old Liana.
We found out when she was about 3 months old. It was something very subtle. We found out that she was just staring in one direction for probably a minute or two, keeping that stare.
For Marvin Fullerton, his experience was different.
I first found out in 1994, November 1994, when I was in technical high school. What I did was feeling some itching on my skin. I went to the school nurse, asked her what was wrong with me, and she told me that I need to change my bath soap. Right.
And what happened after that?
Well, I changed my bath soap and nothing really changed after. But it was January 4, 1995 when I had my first attack. And I woke up in my father's car going to hospital.
Even though he was soon diagnosed with epilepsy, Marvin was able to live a normal life for most of his years as a student.
I was able to go to school. I was put on simple medications such as Tegretol CR 200. No problem. It was easy taking it. It prevented me from having an attack, but my body was not having much problems at those times.
Marvin went on to attend the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI, and the University of Technology. He holds a diploma in architecture and construction management. But despite his academic achievements, he still has challenges gaining employment.
I'm not working right now because it was just the other day I was in the hospital, right? And I got an interview for a job. The interview was wonderful, but I was in the hospital, so the job somewhat got turned down. They found out about the situation and I got turned down.
Unfortunately, there are those who believe that persons with epilepsy cannot work or lead normal lives.
Most people, 70 to 80% of people with epilepsy, can have their seizures controlled. It's the person you employ who you don't yet have their first seizure, those are more are the ones that you should be worried about, because any of us can develop epilepsy for different reasons at any time.
If you believe someone is having a seizure, there are some things you should never do.
Do not put any objects in the mouth. Do not put a spoon to hold the tongue down. Do not bring scallion. Do not take a dirty sneaker and put over the face.
So then, what should you do?
You need to cushion their heads. Whether you have a cushion or a jacket, you can take off and make a cushion just to support the head so they don't damage themselves. You loosen, if it's a man with a tie, loosen his clothing so that he can get some air and he can relax. You turn the person on the side. Do not put them with their heads right back. Turn them on their side and the tongue will fall and any fluids of the mouth will drain out to the side. And I guarantee you, you cannot swallow your tongue. A seizure would take between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if the seizure continues for more than 5 minutes, you should take that person to the hospital.
Anti-seizure medication is the most commonly used method to control seizures. Discounts are available for epilepsy patients who are registered with the National Health Fund. But there are side effects. Some persons experience weight gain, drowsiness, irritability, skin rashes, and blood platelet changes, among others, all of which require understanding from those around them. Then, there is also medical marijuana or medical cannabis.
It seems to have helped a number of, especially children with epilepsy that have been intractable, that is difficult to treat. But in Jamaica, we still need legislation in order to use it, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done about the dosing of the CBD or cannabidiol to be used to treat epilepsy, but it surely seems as though it may be promising.
Research has also shown that diets such as a ketogenic diet can help control the onset of epileptic seizures. The Jamaican Association for Epilepsy offers support for persons with epilepsy and their families. The association also holds regular meetings with members at the Andrews Hospital to share experiences and discuss concerns. They can be contacted at telephone 968-8274 or email jaepilepsy@gmail.com.
Cancer, stress, high blood pressure. Guard yourself against these potentially deadly conditions by eating healthy. Give your body long life with foods such as low-fat milk, dried and fresh peas and beans, unsalted nuts and seeds, fresh vegetables, fruits, and coconut water, and eliminate processed seasonings such as seasoning salt, soy sauces, and ketchup. When it comes to meats, remember to remove the skin to reduce the intake of fats and oils. Meats should also be baked, steamed, grilled, or roasted. Fish is also a preferred protein option. To eat healthy, fill your body with a variety of foods from all the food groups. And remember, eat at a slow pace and in small bites to help aid digestion. This helps to maintain a healthy, balanced, and nutritious diet, strengthening your body to ward off illness and prolong life.
And that's all for the show. If you like this or any other Jamaica magazine, watch it again on YouTube or on the JIS website. And you can always keep up with the latest government happenings by visiting our social media pages. While you're there, give us a like. I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
You're watching watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
After quite an exciting and exhilarating warm-up, it's time for the start of the Guardian Group Keep It Alive 5K 2018. Last year in Montego Bay, it was just about 4,000 people who decided to run, walk, or wheel. This year, they almost doubled that number with 7,000, just about 7,000 participants this year. So we're here at the starting lineup, and Business Access TV will bring you highlights from all the sponsors, all the booth holders, and lots of action from the podium, from the start line to the finish line, right now on Business Access TV, serious about business.
We strive to make life better for our people, and as we strive to raise funds for our respective medical institution, I say to you here this evening that you are here for the right cause. And to hear that we have moved from 4,000 last year to over 7,000 this year, you must give yourself a big round of applause. So I say to you this evening, I know this evening will be a very good evening for all of us. And Montego Bay, we are enjoying a level of peace and stability and love. So I'm saying to you here this evening, enjoy yourself, enjoy the race. Guardian Life, you are doing an extremely good job for the health sector, not only in Montego Bay, but across Jamaica. So once again, one love, everything best from Montego Bay. Thank you.
Wheelchair, on your mark.
When you talk about being fit for business, Eric Hussein takes it to another level. And he is the president, of course, of the Guardian Group. Now, Mr. Hussein, first and foremost, congratulations on another successful execution in Montego Bay, and congratulations on finishing this evening as a runner.
Oh, well, we want to say thanks to everyone. It was fantastic here. Last year we had over 4,000, it was declared the largest run outside of Kingston. And this year we have approximately 7,000. That's just amazing, the growth rate. So really, Kingston, look out. Moby, and I tell you, the vibes down here is just great. A great run, great event, you know, just really thankful. It's a worthy cause. Cornwall Regional, big in the news. St. Anne's Bay Hospital, University Hospital of the West Indies were the original co-conceptualizers, and then Mandeville Hospital. You know, the equipment is just greatly needed, and we, private sector as well as individuals, really need to play a part, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. Now, you spoke about the almost 4,000 last year, and you almost doubled that this year. What do you think is responsible for that almost 100% growth?
Boy, I tell you, we have a fantastic team of persons working to make this event a success. And I think the people have caught on to the vibes and realized that this is really a great way to give back, give back, because the lives we save, maybe just our lives. The equipment that we buy, we all 100% of the income goes to the hospitals. Also to charities run by Kiwanis, Rotary, several other clubs. So it's not just the hospitals, several clubs with their charities are also benefiting. And I think people are buying in more and more to the fact that, hey, this is a great way to keep your body alive as well as to save lives.
Marsha, first and foremost, congratulations on getting past the finish line. Describe the challenge tonight for you.
I wouldn't say it was challenging. I'm so overwhelmed for entering because it's for a worthy cause. Cornwall Regional really needs the help. And I'm representing Team NCB for Guardian 5K run.
So you finished within the top 100. Are you a competitive runner generally?
Not really, but I do run in the evenings and exercise a lot.
High voltage, high voltage, wire. High voltage, high voltage, wire. Watch your wire, watch your wire, watch your wire. Watch your wire, watch your wire, watch your wire. High voltage, high voltage. High voltage, high voltage, wire.
How are you tonight?
I'm fine. It's a wonderful night.
Yes, indeed it is. You almost doubled the number of participants over last year.
Absolutely. It's really awesome.
Describe for us the marketing campaign on the ground, mobilizing the teams, the different corporate entities, the private individuals. What was that process like?
Well, of course, as you can imagine, it's a lot of work to do. I mean, in terms of marketing, we use a lot of social media. We reach out a lot to the people on the ground because, Montego Bay is its own city and it requires its own individual attention. And so that is how we get a lot of the word. And of course, word of mouth, the ads on radio in particular. So all of those things just help to make the turnout so wonderful.
Of course, you did make mention of having to collaborate with a variety of entities, the police, the municipality. How different is that in Montego Bay versus Kingston, or is it different?
It's really not that much different. I mean, obviously we need all the stakeholders on site to make this event safe and wonderful, and that's what we have been able to achieve tonight.
Describe the contribution made by NYS by Heart to the Guardian Group's Keep It Alive 5K in Montego Bay.
Well, first of all, we are all about volunteerism, and this is just another chance for us to volunteer. We were approached by Guardian, and of course we had to say yes to such an initiative. We know how important it is, and of course we have our volunteers who are always ready, willing to go, and this is just a great initiative. We have contributed volunteers in the Montego Bay leg as well as the Kingston leg, and we have been having a wonderful time contributing. And of course, this is a part of the new Learn, Earn, Give and Save initiative under the Prime Minister's HOPE initiative, and we've been just having a wonderful time. And of course our participants, they are learning, and of course they're volunteering, giving, saving.
Now, what's the big benefit to the participants, as in the volunteers, and what's the big benefit to Heart?
Well, I think the biggest benefit is to be able to teach our young people to volunteer, how important it is. The volunteers, they benefit from being a part of these events. They contribute volunteer hours. Some of them are a part of different programs in Hartress and in NYS. So this is just a great way for them to contribute. They get to network. Trust me, they're having a great time and they're learning skills as they go along.
Anthony, clearly this is not your first time participating in this kind of activity. Describe the run for yourself tonight.
Well, last time was a better time, I clocked in 27th minute. Last time was 19.7, which I plan not to give it to my hall this time. But anyway, it was a good run, and right now I feel like I have more energy to run again.
You should probably head on to Kingston and participate in some of those runs there.
Just because I work. Yeah. If it was in Montego Bay, maybe I'll give it an next try.
What's your word of encouragement to your friends, your colleagues here in Montego Bay and across Jamaica as it relates to participating in activities like these for a worthy cause?
Well, it's best to do that, because we have a lot of need the help. So while we do it, it's just for the needy and the help of all the citizens of Jamaica.
Dr. Graham, you ran tonight. Yes. Did you time yourself?
I actually did not, because it was about keeping people alive, and so my effort is to keep them alive, not to keep me alive, although it's doing my body well.
Right.
But I figure I'm somewhere about a half an hour. It was a zigzag race and a lot of people, and of course, it's not about competing, it's about finishing.
Good. Now, it's really good that you've participated. Do you encourage the rest of the UDC team? How many are there others from your UDC team who are here tonight? What's that number looking like?
Yeah, we have about a dozen people. Our Mobay office is not that big, our Western region. We decided to participate in the Western race this year as opposed to the usual Kingston race because Mobay is our second city, and we also have a lot of projects down here in Mobay. The beachfront park and the beaches that are being redeveloped. And of course, we wanted to show Jamaica that we believe in what the run is about, and also that there's community participation. So we drove down and we joined the Mobay team that is here, and we're having a great time.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, selling organs just to get by. The illegal practice is leaving many scarred and broke. That, plus company news, the top business stories, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion, on point, with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung, dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV. Now, we have a group of friends from Montego Bay. We've got Shanakay, Shanice, Shanoy, and Joy. And they all ran tonight in different sections. So let's hear a little bit from them. All right, let's start with you, Shanoy. Why did you choose to run tonight?
For the exercise, the fitness. So I'm giving the body shape. Summer is up.
Yes.
So I'm giving the body shape.
Oh, so you're sculpting yourself for the summer?
Exactly.
Today is June 2. The summer has already begun.
Exactly.
Are you ready for the summer?
Almost.
Almost. All right. Shanakay, is your motivation similar to that of Shanoy?
Same, and also for the fun and the pictures.
For the fun and the?
Pictures.
The fun and the pictures. Where can we find your pictures?
On Facebook, Shanakay Brown, Instagram, Sugar Pretty Natural, and that's practically it.
And now you're on Business Access TV. Let's talk with, this is Joy, right? Oh, Shanice, my apologies. Shanice, so some are running for the fitness, some are running for, obviously, the likes. Are you doing it for the love?
Both? Well, as my friend said, we are doing it for the fitness of the body, the fun, the enjoyment, and the vibes, and also for the support.
Joy, now, I don't hear anybody mention the fact that participating goes towards the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Is that where your motivation lies?
Charity. For charity and also to keep my body in shape.
Do you normally participate?
Summer body as well.
Do you normally participate in activities such as this?
Yes, this is my second year. I also did the UTEC race. That was me. Yeah, I did the UTEC race. So this is my second year in the Guardian Life.
All right, great. Again, it's always wonderful when you can have a group of friends participating for a worthy cause and so many other areas of motivation. It's all about the Guardian Group Keep It Alive 5K in Montego Bay 2018. Among the beneficiaries of the Guardian Group Keep It Alive 5K is the Cornwall Regional Hospital. And with me now I've got Ms. Gillian Legister, and she's the Director of Nursing Services. And we also have the Senior Medical Officer, Dr. Derek Harvey. Let's start with you, Dr. Harvey. almost 7,000 participants, a target of about 22 million, of which the hospital will get a share to improve conditions. We know the circumstances facing the workers and the overall condition of the hospital. But just speak to us a little bit about how much this means to you and the hospital.
Well, each year we are beneficiaries of what goes on here. Last year we managed to get an operating theatre table. We got some pediatric equipment, which is very necessary. I understand the problems which Cornwall has, but we live with the hope that we will get back to normal. What happens, we have a pre-selected list of vital equipment, and events such as these go a far way in helping the patients who we look after and also improving the services.
Now, Mr. Gisto, Director of Nursing Services, we know the hours that you put in, the conditions in which you work under. Just describe for us some of the benefits and what you're looking forward to most following this run.
Okay, certainly the benefits that we look forward to certainly includes the provision of vital equipment for patient care, such as incubators and monitors for our patients. And these are well-needed equipment that we need for everyday patient care.
Dr. Harvey, your word of encouragement to corporate entities in the Western region and for other just private individuals to participate in events such as these.
We are quite encouraged by what we see. Certainly corporate entities coming on board not only improve the healthcare at Cornwall, but health in general. We are inviting everyone to come on board. Health is a national issue. There are various aspects to health, as you know, being promoted by the ministry. Certainly events such as these go a far way. The more persons, the better. It shows community spirit. Certainly gathering persons here is not only to do with the donation of equipment, but something like this, as somebody said, is a social event. It highlights what is going on. It's one of those areas which persons look forward to on an annual basis, coming out to support, knowing fully well that they're supporting events such as a hospital and other things.
With us now is Mr. Steve Hemmings, and he is a member of the Montego Bay community who has benefited significantly from the work delivered at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Now, Mr. Hemmings, you participated tonight, you walked tonight. Just describe the reasons behind your participation.
Oh, why I do this, you know, upon in the hospital, Cornwall Regional Hospital, 3 times. I'm a patient there. I was a patient there. I do 2 surgeries up there. So that's why I do it to help the hospital. My first year this in this one. I do other one, but my first year this. I enjoy this 500%.
Yes. What did you enjoy most about participating tonight?
The walking.
Yes.
I walk. I know I walk but so far for this long time. I walk, you know. Yes. I used to work at Freeport Police Station, but I retire now. But I walk. I couldn't be some walk and reach back at the finishing line.
Given the amount of walking, the distance you walk tonight, will that encourage you to walk even more on a regular basis at this kind of pace?
Okay, this is the walk that I do tonight, you know. Very important because I have blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Before I start, I don't feel it, and before I done, I don't feel it. And I used to feel it when I used to walk. Then I walk on this to this, and I feel it start at me. So that's why I benefit this, and I can't wait till next year.
With us now is one of the patrons of the Guardian Group, Keep It Alive 5K, Dr. Sarah Lawrence. Sarah, another wonderful staging.
I'm full of vibes and energy. I am so happy.
So, almost 4,000 people last year, just shy of 7,000 this year. What do you think kind of drove that massive increase?
Oh my God, I don't know what it is, but I thank God. But actually, I really feel like, you know, the Guardian Group just keeps mobilizing and getting bigger and better and getting it out there that this run, this effort is something that can affect every single Jamaican. Because unfortunately, at some time, we all have to interface with the hospital, and it's a system that's lacking. And they have just been committed to fortifying our hospitals with equipment, and I mean, it just warms my heart because I get to see it on both sides, you know? Yeah.
So, and let's talk a little bit about that, because you work in the healthcare system and you see the challenges on a day-to-day basis. Please, direct an appeal to private citizens, to corporate entities, to really deliver where we need it most.
Absolutely, because you know, it's very rarely we'll have, you know, some people think if something happens, them go fly out. That's not the reality. The reality is that when something happens, it's a very time-sensitive thing. So if you come to the university hospital or any of the hospitals in the area and you don't have a simple thing like a blood pressure monitor or the CT scan is down or something like that, it's really something that can be very detrimental. But you know, the Guardian Group saw the need and they are committed. But enough more needs to be done. So it's something that is ongoing, and we are always welcoming contributions because our healthcare system is in dire need.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
With us now is Mr. Leo Garrell, and he is the CEO of the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. Mr. Garrell, tonight must mean a lot to you because it's the second leg of the Guardian Group, Keep It Alive 5K, and the hospital is a beneficiary.
Yes, it is. It is a special time for us, always. Well, this is what, the 4th year? Yes, it's always special for us.
So the big focus recently in the news would have been the Cornwall Regional Hospital and all the troubles there. They still remain open, they still remain functional. Could you share with us some of the unique challenges being faced at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital?
Well, part of the challenge is the fact that Cornwall has challenges because we refer patients to Cornwall. We are a type B hospital, meaning that we don't offer all the services that our patients need. So we refer to Cornwall, which is a type A hospital. Now when they have problems, then I have problems. That means I can't transfer some of my patients there. So I now have to find other places, maybe like KPH or UE to help me. So yes, they have problems, I have problems too. And part of those, well, we have, most of us have the same problems. We have transportation problems, sometimes equipment problems, but it's part for the course, yes.
So Guardian has galvanized support across the island in this fashion, Kingston and Montego Bay. But being in St. Anne's Bay, along the north coast, of course, which is let us call it the tourism belt of the island, are you getting support from tourist-related entities, hotels and other types of institutions? Describe that for us.
Yes, all right. So you have the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, the Runaway Bay Otrius chapter. We are actually a part of that group. And so they do a lot of things for us. Every Labor Day they come in and they do some works in the hospital. But throughout the year, they also do other things for us. So we are fully involved with them. They have sort of adopted us, you know, which we're very happy. And we work with them. They try to help us meet our needs so that, because they themselves benefit from it, you know. They're going to send the tourists to us, so they want to make sure that our facility is up to standard, so when the tourists come, they can be well taken care of.
Second place male, Dwayne Graham. And the winner, are you ready for this? 15 minutes, 24 seconds. Only by seconds, put your hands together for the man I call GG. Garfield Gordon. In third place, female, it goes to none other than Juliet Reeves. Congratulations to Juliet Reeves, 36 minutes, 39 seconds. Second place, Legionnaire Wallace. And the winner, 5K walk in 35 minutes, 51 seconds. It goes to Georgiana Fenton. Congratulations. Second place, 26 minutes flat. Do well, Alan, who keeps on doing well. Third place male. Get ready, Kelsa. 26 minutes. Walk with about, you know. 26 seconds. We're looking for Anthony Burrows. And the winner, who walked 25 minutes, 33 seconds. Andre Smith. On a clap, Andre Smith, please.
Congratulations, Garfield. How was the run for you today?
Well, it was a challenging run for me with my teammate, Ocean Archibald. Yeah, but I put in all the works from a couple months ago, so I know I'm in a good shape to win.
Is this your first time running in Montego Bay?
No, my second time.
How did you do on your previous run?
Well, my last one was 15-19 in Kingston. And it was a great one, but this one was more challenging.
What's the big challenge about this one when you compare it to Kingston?
Well, my teammate, as I said, Ocean Archibald, yeah, he gave me a good challenge.
So, of course, you run for fitness, but also you're contributing to a worthy cause. What do you have to say to other Jamaicans who want to run competitively or just want to run for the cause?
Well, it's a great experience, both run for the cause and run competitively.
How are you feeling about your second place finish?
Yeah, I feel good. Last year, come second, same way. I feel good, extremely good.
So you're consistent. You second last year, second this year. Are you going to up it and finish first next year?
Yeah, I'll do that, yes.
With us now is the third place male finisher, Ocean Archibald of GC Foster. Congratulations on the third place. How was the race for you?
It was a good run still, but they leave me at the 4K and I couldn't make it over because it seemed like I still don't recover from the Trinidad and Tobago race. Different environment, but I'm working on my recovery rate, so I guess at the next race I can get back my first place.
Right, because you would have lost to, I think, Garfield Gordon. Is it always stiff competition between you two?
Yes, sir, but I'm the 2018 champion through the early season till now. So when I come second last week and third, I have to still be grateful because it could be even worse.
Great. Well, congratulations again. Thank you for your time. With us now is Mr. Andrew East, who participated wheeling tonight in the Guardian Group Keep It Alive 5K. Describe your participation tonight. How was it for you?
Well, for the first time, I was trying to see how well I would do. So it was a bit difficult, especially going up the hill, but it was fun. I mean, coming back down was not so bad. So, you know, I was trying to pace myself to see where I would, so if I would do it again. But, so yeah, I'll do it again.
Well, that's good to hear. So I want to ask, though, what inspired you to try this time?
Just something new. Just wanted to do something to challenge yourself. After being a disabled person for this time, 18 years, I always need something new to inspire you to keep going and moving forward, you know? So this was one of those things.
I'm happy to hear you say that you will be participating again. Have you identified the next event that you will be in?
Not yet. Just waiting to see and check the listing and see what comes up.
They ran, they walked, they wheeled. Almost 7,000 participants in the Guardian Group Keep It Alive 5K in Montego Bay. it has been a pleasure delivering this event to you on Business Access TV. Serious about business.
I'm Richard Biles, CEO of Sagicor, and you're watching Business Access.
Selling organs just to get by. The illegal practice is leaving many scarred and broke. Weekend Business Report starts right now. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Kenil Gale. Thanks so much for joining us this week. If you didn't have many options, how much would you sell a kidney for? Well, the illegal practice is gaining more popularity in Egypt. We'll tell you more about that in a bit, but right now here are some of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk. A USA Today report published on Tuesday leveled damning accusations against one of Jamaica's most popular all-inclusive chains. The story also quoted figures from the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica, which suggested that every month, at least one American tourist is raped on the island, and resort employees are the main perpetrators. Shoshana Small has more.
Although the article only details stories of rape victims over a 3-year period, it claimed that assault on U.S. female tourists has been happening in Jamaica for years. It pointed to figures from the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica, which suggested that over the past 7 years, 78 U.S. citizens have been raped. And just last year, 12 U.S. citizens were raped. 6 of those rape incidents occurred inside resort hotels and were committed by resort employees. For its part, it says the U.S. Embassy has issued a warning to visitors about the number of sexual assaults perpetrated by resort workers on the North Coast. Currently, Sandals Resort International's Beaches Resorts has a lawsuit in a federal court in Florida, but the article says Sandals is trying to get the case dismissed, arguing it doesn't belong in American courts, but should be transferred to Jamaica because the defendant, witnesses, police, and potential evidence are there. But in a statement to BATV News this evening, the all-inclusive hotel chain says it can't comment on the issue as it's still before the courts. However, Sandals was quick to point out that it takes the safety of its guests seriously and conducts background checks on employees while conducting extensive training on appropriate guest interactions. The hotel says it also has a zero-tolerance policy for fraternizing with guests. In the meantime, the tourism ministry is starting some damage control. In a response to the article posted on Facebook, tourism strategist Delano Seavright said the ministry is aware of the article. He argued that where cases of assault are identified, they're being given full attention. He also said the ministry is committed to ensuring that Jamaica is a safe and seamless destination.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, in reacting to the story, strongly condemned the sexual assaults and other violent incidents against visitors and citizens. The organization said they have taken note of the USA Today article, which references 78 reports of sexual assault against American visitors over the past 7 years. The JHTA noted that at no time has there been any attempt by the hotels to deceive or cover up the incidents. They say whenever there is an incident, the entity involved communicates and cooperates immediately with the police, the Jamaica Tourist Board, and other stakeholders such as embassies to resolve the issue, and where necessary, let the law take its course. The association said its members invest in special staff training to ensure the safety and security of guests. After months of trading at an all-time high, the Jamaican dollar is now appreciating again. Economist Dr. Damon King says this is because the demand for the US dollar has changed, while financial analyst Dennis Chung is crediting the Bank of Jamaica for the local currency's recent gains. Here's more.
The Jamaican dollar started the year trading at $125.37, but on June 8, it started an upward climb, trading at $130.20. By August 23, it was trading at a record high of $137.96. This caused shock waves across Jamaica. But last Thursday, the Jamaican dollar finally went back below the $130 mark and has continued its stride, ending today's trading at $128.93. Economist Dr. Damon King says this is because the demand for the US dollar has weakened.
If we have a few weeks where demand exceeds supply, the exchange rate moves up. If we have other weeks where demand is less than supply, exchange rate is going to move down. And so that's all we are seeing now, that the exchange rate is responding on a daily and weekly basis to these shifts in relative demand and supply.
Dr. King says this is possible because the exchange rate is no longer the only thing that affects inflation.
Up until 3 years ago, inflation was the dominant consideration and would so relentlessly drive the exchange rate up that the effect of differences in supply and demand ended up getting swamped. So we mostly saw it going up. Now that the inflation factor has diminished, because we now are in a period where Jamaica can bank on low single-digit inflation rates, then the effect of relative demand and relative supply is now more apparent.
But he says persons have not been creating a buzz around the dollar's appreciation because of how Jamaicans use foreign currency.
Most Jamaicans are net users of foreign exchange. They get more concerned about a rise in the exchange rate than they do a fall in the exchange rate. Those few who are net earners of foreign exchange have the opposite reaction, that they pay more attention when the exchange rate falls because that harms them than when the exchange rate rises because that benefits them.
In the meantime, financial analyst Dennis Chong is crediting the central bank for the Jamaican dollar's appreciation.
I think that they saw that it was moving too fast and they stepped in and sort of tried to curb it a little bit. When they think that there's demand that is not accounted for with any logic, then if the dollar is behaving irrationally, they'll step in and do that.
However, he says based on the nature of the exchange rate, it's not unlikely that the dollar will depreciate again.
The dollar is going to fluctuate based on demand and supply. So, I don't think there's anything much different from that.
The government says several public-private partnerships should be generated from the many infrastructural projects to take place across the island within the next 5 years. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Darrell Vaz, says Cabinet will soon begin reviewing plans for more private sector involvement as the country expands its infrastructure. Minister Vaz was speaking at a forum put on by Money Masters in Kingston on Tuesday. More in this report.
Minister Vaz says the government is aware of the significant role that the private sector plays in stimulating economic growth, and that is why the administration is looking for more public-private partnerships to help develop the country's infrastructure.
There is finally a submission, cabinet submission, which is currently being reviewed now to take to cabinet, and I think some directives will come out of that in terms of how do we move about, especially with government circle fast moving ahead in terms of the parliament building and the government services in and around. That ties into downtown, and there will be room for PPPs in several areas, not only in the government square as we call it now, but several other properties and locations in and around downtown.
Meanwhile, President of Money Masters, Claudette Crooks, is calling on the private sector to secure business opportunities and invest in infrastructure funding, which she says is a billion-dollar industry.
According to IP Real Assets top ranking of the world's largest infrastructure investors, capturing $360 billion US of investments in aggregate, the average allocation to infrastructure is about 3%, but 3% of a big figure is quite large. The 3% of that big figure totals around $360 billion US. For Jamaican funds, it's an area that we absolutely must grow if we're going to participate in the development of our country.
Moving on now, Egypt is one of the countries most affected by organ trafficking. Widespread poverty means criminal gangs can easily trick or pressure people into selling their organs. While authorities have passed a law specifically designed to combat this illegal trade, big loopholes remain.
I came to Cairo to try and make a living, but I didn't find a job. Someone suggested selling a kidney for money. I asked how much, he told me $8,000, I said yes.
When Ahmed arrived in Cairo 3 years ago, he thought he could make ends meet by selling one of his kidneys for money. But for this young Sudanese refugee who did not want to show his face on camera, the operation turned into a nightmare.
I came out of the operating room and I was taken to an apartment. I still felt the effects of the anesthesia. I slept a little, and when I woke up, there was no one left, nothing. I just found 50 euros under the pillow. Now I'm sick and tired, and I still feel a lot of pain.
Undocumented migrants are an easy target for organ traffickers, as are the poorest in Egyptian society. According to the World Health Organization, Egypt has one of the highest rates of illegal organ transplants in the world, after China, the Philippines, and India. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Cairo is well aware of the problem.
Socioeconomic difficulties generally pose a lot of challenges on refugees and non-refugees, and it can push a lot of people to adopt negative coping mechanisms to try to survive the day-to-day challenges of our lives. That being selling their organs, refugees and asylum seekers can be exposed to a wide number of risks based on that vulnerability.
In Egypt, the sale of organs is illegal. Only donations are allowed. But by promising large sums of money or using threats and intimidation, organ traffickers easily force their victims to sign a donation authorization. In this kidney center in Mansoura, Professor Mohammed Ghunaim has made the fight against the illegal sale of organs his primary focus. He says the existing laws are easy to circumvent.
The poor man or woman who is ready to donate will go to a police station and make a statement, approved, stamped, that she is donating her kidney for the sake of God, for the sake of spiritual reason. So if you print this paper, this document, I'm donating my kidney for you for the sake of God, spirit, whatever, okay. On the surface, no financial elements are involved, but in fact, there is a financial element.
Finding a kidney in the classifieds or on social media in Egypt is shockingly simple. Middlemen openly leave their contact information and telephone numbers on Facebook. We contacted one of them.
Hello? فصيلة ايه موجب. تمام اللهم صل على النبي. هو التكلفة التوتال كله بيبقى من 180 ل 190. 190 بس حضرتك هتتكلف بالعملية وكل حاجة صح؟ كل حاجة بالمتبرع بالأشخاص كله. بس ده مش غالي شوية ولا ايه؟ بص انت تعملها في مستشفى أول حاجة 5 نجوم. على إيد أكبر الجراحين.
To confirm the offer was real, we sent a hidden camera into the hospital mentioned by the organ broker, a medical institution in central Cairo not known for organ transplants. Once inside, a hospital staffer immediately explained the process.
وبيبعتك معمل وانت بتشوف المعمل ده بياخدوا تحاليلك وعيناتك هم عندهم بقى ناس عاوزه تتبرع بيوفقوك
عند المعمل. طب بتكلف كام مثلا لو رحت عند المعمل او كده؟
لا ما اعرفش والله
بس هي بفلوس صح؟
بس طبعا انت عندك المتبرع الواحد ممكن ياخد 50 40 غير بقيه العمليه 50 40.
In recent months, several high-profile trials of organ traffickers have made headlines in the Egyptian press. But with a law that's easy to circumvent, it's unlikely that authorities will be able to properly crack down on illegal organ transplants.
Company news comes up next, then later, India erects the world's tallest statue in honor of one of its founding fathers. Stay with us.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Palace Amusement promises Portmore Cinema, Wisynco wants more exports, and CIBC First Caribbean Bank gives JPS multi-million-dollar US loan. Here's this week's company news.
Palace Amusement Company is looking to open a 4-screen theater in Portmore, St. Catherine next year. The company received a huge revenue boost from the blockbuster hit Black Panther during the 2017-2018 financial year, with revenues moving from $990 million to $1.16 billion during the period. The company says the 17% jump in revenues was directly related to the large number of moviegoers who came out to watch the box office hit. Wisynco Group is reporting more than $25 billion in revenues for the first half of the year. That's some $3 billion more than what they recorded for the same period last year. Wisynco says 2019 will be even better for the company as they plan to roll out several products during the financial year. Most of the new products being developed are reduced sugar alternatives, Bigger, Water Cran Water Boom and Squeeze, which the company hopes will better penetrate regional markets. CIBC First Caribbean International Bank and JPS recently signed a $60 million bilateral senior term loan. JPS says the loan will support its planned capital expenditure and debt refinancing. Meanwhile, the bank says the loan, which consisted of both US dollars and Jamaican dollar tranches with a fixed to floating interest rate, was tailored to satisfy the needs of JPS.
Let's now take a look at the closing numbers from the major stock markets around the world. When we come back, more of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk, so stay with us.
Welcome to The Business Year. The Business Year is a global media group specializing in economic news and business intelligence. We bring our readers first-hand insights from over 35 countries. Each of our country-centered publications features over 150 face-to-face interviews with local leaders in business and policy. We are The Business Year.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. More news now. Jamaica has fallen 5 places in the latest World Bank Group's Ease of Doing Business report. The 2019 report, which was published on Wednesday, saw the country being ranked at 75th. However, despite the fall, Jamaica is still the highest-ranked Caribbean country. Here's more.
The World Bank Ease of Doing Business report measures regulations that enhance and constrain business activities in over 190 countries. This year, Jamaica ranked 75 overall out of the 190 countries, falling 5 places when compared to the 2018 ranking. The report says Jamaica has improved access to credit information by distributing data from utility companies and also expanded its scope of information collected and reported by credit bureau or registry. Jamaica is ranked 6th when it comes to starting a business, falling from 5th place last year. The fall in ranking occurred even though the island maintained its processes to start a business of only requiring 2 procedures and a 3-day turnaround time. There is undoubtedly a construction boom on the island. However, when it comes to dealing with construction permits, Jamaica is ranked 76, an improvement to its ranking of 98 last year. The positive movement can be attributed to the increases in the country's overall score for dealing with construction permits and the Building Quality Control Index. Reading further into the report showed that Jamaica is ranked 115 when it comes to getting electricity, a fall from its 91 ranking last year, despite the fact that it still takes 7 procedures and 95 days to get it done. The slip in ranking can therefore be attributed to the country losing 6 points in the overall score for getting electricity after all the various other factors are taken into consideration. Jamaica is ranked 131 when it comes to registering a property, slipping 3 places from the 128th ranking last year. It now takes 19 days and 8 procedures to register a property instead of the 18 days that same 8 procedures took in the last report. Meanwhile, the report also showed that Jamaica has experienced reductions in the time it takes to prepare documentation following training programs or pilot tests when implementing the automated system for customs data as SUCADA. In the meantime, as Jamaica sits in the #1 spot regionally, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada are the other countries rounding out the top 5 Caribbean countries in the overall ease of doing business ranking.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke is seeking to quell concerns that Jamaica is relying too heavily on loans from the Chinese to fund major infrastructure projects. He says the loans from the Chinese are only a small portion of the national debt. More in this report.
Earlier this week, President of Money Masters Limited, Claudette Crooks, expressed concerns about the government's reliance on loans from China to fund major infrastructure projects. She said the country might have to turn over assets to China if the government can't repay these loans. But Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke says Chinese loans are a very small portion of the national debt.
Our debt is 100% of GDP, which is good relative to where we were. 100% of GDP is a pretty big number. The GDP is approximately $2 trillion, Jamaican dollars. So when we say the national debt is 100% of GDP or trending towards below 100% of GDP, what we mean is that the national debt of Jamaica is 2 trillion Jamaican dollars as at September 2018. And loans from China represent a mere 3.9% of that total. A very small share.
Additionally, the minister says these loans are at very low interest rates.
99% of the loans that we have outstanding to China, 99% of the loans that make up 3.9% of our entire loan stock are at interest rates that are fixed at 2%, and some of them are at 3%. Among the lowest interest rates in our entire loan portfolio.
Minister Clarke adds that most of the loans from China will be repaid within 10 years.
90% of the debt that we have outstanding to the Chinese Exim Bank, as at September 2018, 90% of it matures and will be repaid within 10 years.
Jamaica's current unemployment rate is the lowest in the country's history. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin is reporting unemployment is at 8.4% as of July. That's the lowest since the start of the labor force survey in 1968. According to Statin, this was due to a rise in construction jobs and other service-related jobs during the period. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
Nearly 13,000 more people were working in July this year compared to July last year, bringing the employed labor force to 1.2 million people and the unemployment rate to just 8.4%. Director of Survey Dr. Natalie Simpson says this is the lowest the country's unemployment rate has been since 1968 when the labor force survey started. She says the industry groups construction and real estate renting and business activities accounted for the largest increases, each group employing at least 9,000 more workers.
When you look at that disaggregated by sex, construction was mainly males. So the 9,400 persons who gained employment in construction, that was predominantly males. And then for females, it's in the industry, wholesale, retail, repair of motor vehicles. And in terms of occupation, what we're seeing is the category service workers and shops and market sales workers, that there was an increase of 13,600 persons.
Okay.
And this is followed by crafts and related services.
Dr. Simpson says the labor force has also decreased by 2% during the period, which contributed to the lower unemployment rate.
There's an increase in the number of persons outside the labor force. There was an increase of 4.7% between July 2017 and July 2018. So what you find is that when the labor force, the size of the labor force is smaller, the outside persons move to outside labor force. So they could have retired, for instance, as well as they could be going back to school.
When we come back, India unveils massive statue to honor a founding father. More on that after this break.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. The Indian Prime Minister has unveiled a 182-meter statue, which is the world's tallest, to honor one of the country's founders. The statue, called the Statue of Unity, cost $430 million. Al Jazeera's Charlie Angeli reports.
Twice the height of New York's Statue of Liberty, India's independence hero looms large over the country he helped unite. Sardar Patel was known as the Iron Man, and his 182-meter effigy is partly clad in bronze. At his feet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid his respects, hailing the Statue of Unity as a beacon of inspiration.
Brothers and sisters, this, the world's tallest statue, will keep on reminding the whole world and our future generations about Sardar Patel's courage, capability and resolve.
Patel is a hero to Hindu nationalists like Modi, and he's making political capital out of the statue. With a museum at the bottom and a lift to the top, the government also hopes the statue will draw tourists to this remote part of Modi's home state, Gujarat. But many locals believe the project, which cost $430 million, is a waste of public money. Just 3 weeks ago, farmers marched against the falling price of their produce. They say money spent on the statue should be used to prop up commodity prices. And families forced to relocate to make way for the statue are also angry and unhappy with their compensation. Patel was India's first interior minister and deputy prime minister. He persuaded feuding states to unite and become part of the Indian state after independence. Both political parties are keen to claim his legacy. But critics say a true tribute to Patel would not be in 67,000 tons of concrete and bronze, but in fighting for farmers' rights, as he did. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera.
And that's our show for this week. On behalf of the entire Weekend Business Report team, I'm Keneal. See you next time.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
On this episode of Chill Spot, we'll be hanging out with Desron Graham, branch manager of National Commercial Bank on Washington Boulevard. He'll be showing us how he likes to hang out after a long day at the office, which involves working out at Giscom Gym and then hanging out at Ribby's Ultra Lounge. So stay with us, more Chill Spot after this. Hi.
Hey, Candy.
No bother stop now, no. Keep going. You have 15
I
more.
eat that one. Just for you, I will stop.
So Desron, tell me about Giscom and why you choose to work out here.
I just like the atmosphere. It's probably one of the biggest gyms in Kingston, certainly. As you said, the rooms are very spacious. I don't have to fight to get the equipment to use, so it's pretty chill. Nice set of people that come here in the evenings.
How long have you been a member here?
I've been here for about approximately 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how important is health and wellness to your lifestyle? Is it a big part?
Certainly over the last 2 years. I mean, one evening I was going home and listening to our radio program, and I heard a doctor said that 2 in every 4 Jamaican men are obese. That was shocking. The next day I was in the gym because I refused to be a part of that statistics. So from then, it has just become a lifestyle. I mean, once you're healthy, you can conquer the world.
And about how many times a week do you work out?
At least 4 times per week.
4 times?
Yeah, at least 4 times per week.
So we're going to be working out today. What exactly are we going to be doing?
Yeah, man, I'm going to get you ready for the Olympics. So with the help of my trainer, Da Costa, we're going to get you ready.
It's okay. Right? I think the qualifications have passed.
No,
man, so
it's coming up in July, man. So you're ready, man. It's in June. So you'll be ready. You'll be ready. So we're going to do some pec flies. We're going to do some pull-ups. We're going to warm up first.
I can't pull up.
Don't worry. We'll get you up there. All right. So we're going to do some pull-ups. We're going to do some curls. Get you ready for the Olympics.
I don't think that I will be going to the Olympics, but let's go anyway.
Come on, you got this. So let's meet my trainer, Da Costa, who's going to take us through the warm-up session.
Handy. Nice to meet you.
So we could go out here to the corner.
All right. I can't help but ask, is the way to getting those defined six-pack abs doing abs in the gym, or is it more about what you eat?
This is about 30% of the journey to get the abs, because really and truly it's diet and what you eat.
Right.
Because you could work abs from now till next year and still not have any because you're eating junk and eating too late in the night,
right,
and so on and so forth.
Okay, and what about legs? How do I get my legs to be toned? Is that about my eating as well?
Not necessarily.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I would advise to work legs more than one time for the week and have both a heavy and light day. So one day go as heavy as you can, as well as for the light day, you go light and do as many reps as you can.
Okay, and how important are my cheat days? Sorry. How important is my diet in working out and in my workout regimen?
All right, so that's another problem now, because here what happened. In growing and gaining size will require you to increase your carbs.
Right.
And in increasing the carbs, meaning that more than likely you're going to develop a tummy.
Okay.
So you have to try and balance both of them. So during the bulking season, you won't necessarily have abs.
Right.
But in going to more sculpt the physique, that's when the diet changes and that's when you can see some abs.
Okay. I know you mentioned bulking season and that sounds like it's more for the males. Is that what you're doing?
I can do what I'm looking at. Yeah, man, it's that time of the year. Bulking now to cut for summer.
All right, so I think we got a good workout in. What's next on our agenda?
Well, I'd love for you to join me at this for what I do best. I mean, I love the gym, but
Is that eating or drinking?
No, man, I don't eat much.
Let's go. Coming up.
I listen to my customers, and in particular our business customers, because at the end of the day, our main purpose is to serve them, is to help them to build their business, and there's no sweeter joy than seeing your customers do extremely well.
Welcome to The Business Year. The Business Year is a global media group specializing in economic news and business intelligence. We bring our readers first-hand insights from over 35 countries. Each of our country-centered publications features over 150 face-to-face interviews with local leaders in business and policy. We are The Business Year.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
That's about it.
Hi again, gentlemen.
Hi, Candy.
Hi, good to see you.
Thanks for joining me.
I see we have another guest.
Yeah, man.
Hi. Candy, sorry. Jason. Hi, Jason. Nice to meet you. Hi again.
All right, your time up.
Hi. Thank you very much.
We should cheers, right?
Ah, we should.
Cheers.
Okay, so you're the branch manager at NCB. How did you first get involved in banking?
As a child, probably about age 9 or 10, I used to go to the bank with my aunt and I was fascinated with the way the tellers were counting the money. Yeah, man, I would just stand up in awe and look at them counting the money, and I knew from there and then that, listen, this is what I want to do, you know, and rest is history.
And what has the journey been like for you to branch manager? Have you worked in any other branches?
18 wonderful years with the National Commercial Bank, of course. I started out as a teller, just where I wanted to, you know, but I moved my way up
I worked as a credit officer, where I did well. I served also as a business banker, where I did for about 4 or so years, where I did extremely well, was always in the top 10 in NCB. Then I moved on to being a manager's assistant in charge of the credit department. And then I got my big break later on to branch manager of the Red Hills branch. Then after that, I moved on to the Washington Boulevard branch, where I've been for the last 2.5 years. And it has been really, really great.
So you spoke a little about your journey to where you are now with NCB, but talk to us about your experience in the industry. What has that been like?
As I told you before, I just wanted to be a teller. When I finally got in, I realized, boy, it was not as easy as I thought. It was not just about counting money. There were many nights, I remember the first 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't get home until very late in the night because, boy, I couldn't balance. You know, every night I was there searching for what errors I made. But then, you know, I told myself, Desron, this is your dream. This is your goal. This too will pass. You'll get it right. And I pushed along until I eventually became teller of the quarter. That certainly built my vibes. So I pushed on from there. In terms of being a credit officer, there were days when, boy, you decline some loans and persons get mad at you and you wonder if you're going to see them when you get outside, if you're safe on the road. You know, there has been some challenges, but there has been some major success for me. As a business banker, being in the top 10 in terms of my performance, and you get there as a result of how many companies you have helped to grow, your performance, how many persons you have lent to in terms of financing for their businesses. And you know, for many businesses in Jamaica, it requires a strong banker. It requires somebody to be there for you when you need them most, not just when they have gotten to the top. Right. I've had many of those. I've had a few too who didn't make it, despite me giving them some advice. It wasn't bad advice, but probably business is just not for everybody, you know. But it has been, I would say, the most part, quite rewarding.
How would you describe yourself as a leader? Are you very strict? Are you very hands-on? Are you kind of lax?
It's a combination. I'm very hands-on. I listen to my people, you know. I involve them in most of the decisions that I make. I take into account what they think, how they would want to see things done, you know. And I find that works for me. But I'm very, very hands-on. You know, I spend a lot of time in my banking hall, listening to my customers, seeing how they see us through their eyes in terms of the service that we deliver to them, how we could make it better for them.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the financial sector and the banking industry that you're in. How easy would you say it is for persons to do banking in Jamaica?
I still believe we have a long way to go. We're not there yet. We're on our way, but we're not there yet. There's still some red tapes. There's some things that could be much easier done, you know? Like, for example, online banking. Could be a little bit easier than it is now, certainly, compared to the first world countries in terms of opening accounts online. Certainly at NCB, we are there, you know, but it has taken us a while to get there. So we're getting there, but there's still a lot of red tapes. There's still a lot of things that we can do differently, can do better, but we're making the steps at NCB, and certainly I'm happy for that.
How would you see yourself affecting any change in this banking and finance industry?
By the fact that I listen to my customers, and in particular our business customers. So I have a good knowledge of what is going on with them. What is it that they would want us to do for them? Because at the end of the day, our main purpose is to serve them, is to help them to build their business. And there's no sweeter joy than seeing your customers do extremely well.
So you've already done so much with your profession already. You've grown so much at NCB. What goals do you have for yourself professionally for the future?
Oh, there's so much more to achieve, Candy. I definitely want to see myself in the senior executive team of NCB, where I can help to drive the growth even more, help to make the major decisions going forward. So, you know, I want to be in the top. I'm far from where I want to be. I'm on my journey.
That's almost admirable that you're so far ahead, but yet still you want to go even further than you are right now.
Oh, I have so much more to offer. And I believe that in time, once you put the work out, the reward will come.
Okay, what would you say drives you to succeed as a young person in business?
When I see people do well, when I can say that this business started out with me, when I can say I helped this person to achieve his or her dreams, there's no sweeter reward. Ruby started out with me.
Right.
Yeah. I was here with them, I was a banker from day one.
One of the founding fathers.
Oh, definitely, you know. When they told me, boy, we need you to be our bankers, I jumped at it, you know, so. This is one of my many success stories. I have many customers who started out with me from day one, and just by providing the kind of financial advice that I offer to them and walking them through the day-to-day running of the business, spending time with them, understanding what their vision is and helping them to put their best life forward, certainly my joy.
Coming up.
I am Jamaica's strongest person.
Wow!
So,
you traded Jamaica's strongest person?
From the 3 persons who entered, you are.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, selling organs just to get by. The illegal practice is leaving many scarred and broke. That, plus company news, the top business stories, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
All right, so we have a new member with us now. This is?
So I have Jason, I have Javon.
Hi, Jason. I know we already met.
Right. No, these 2 guys balance me out. I won't tell you which one do what, but there's the one who will say, let's have 2 more Johnny Walker for the road. And then the other one will say, bro, let's have some water.
I wonder who is who. I wonder who is who.
You know, you need that balance, yeah?
Okay, so we want to get into the personal side of you.
Certainly.
Talk to us about your upbringing. Do you have any siblings? Where were you raised? What schools you went to?
I grew up in the best parish in Jamaica, of course, Westmoreland. Best parish in Jamaica. You can tell from even how I look, eh? Come on, best parish in Jamaica, Westmoreland. You know? I have 2 excellent brothers and sisters who are actually my role models.
Which high school you went to?
Of course, the best one again.
Is that always the
best? Well, the best one is an all-girls school. I don't think you went there.
I went to a more rounded school. I went to the great St. Elizabeth Technical High School, of course. You know?
The great.
So you have other schools. You have, of course, you have JC, you have Andrews, and you have.
What school did you go to again?
That one on North Street. You know, can't even remember the name, but I think they call it George's.
No, it's Woolworths.
Or Woolworths, you know.
That is the best school.
But yeah. So I grew up with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. We're all 4 years apart. We weren't very close in terms of friends at the young stage, but as we got older, we got extremely close.
Right.
You know, like on Sundays we have dinners together now.
Which never used to happen before.
No, I didn't even like them at some point. Because, you know, when they are the bigger ones, they get everything and you get the what's left. You know, but my school days were great. Then I went away to University of London, came back. to Jamaica. That was a total different experience, total different weather, certainly not what I was accustomed to. Had many sleepless nights, cried a lot, wanted to come back home because it was just so different from Jamaica. I couldn't wait to get back home, and of course, that I did.
I had a similar experience when I went away to college right after I came back home as well. How would you describe Desron?
Cool guy. He's always like the parent in the group, always telling you, no, do this, no, don't do that. So we always call him Father Miserable. Yes, we do. But I mean, all around he's fun to hang out with, and he will balance you out. He'll give you the fun side, and then he'll give you the side that will say, all right, let's focus. This is where you need to be at. This is where you need to look towards going. So it's always good to have that kind of role model figure. Right. Yeah, but he's still balanced out because he thinks he's young.
Remember, no, age is just a number. Come on, come on.
We already had that discussion. Okay, and what about you? What do you do?
I'm the Spirits brand manager at Red Stripe.
And how are you enjoying it?
It's been wonderful so far. I mean, it's different experience. Every day is a new challenge, and you know I always welcome a challenge, so it's been nice.
Okay, and how did you meet?
We've been like best friends for about 13, 14 years now. Wow. Yes. I met him when I was in college, I think first year of college.
He needed guidance, you know? He needed a father figure in his life, and I stepped up to the task. You know? He wanted to party every day, miss his exams, don't go to school, and have to tell a boy, sit down and study a book. So you're not turned work list for
which is totally the opposite of what really happened, but let him live in the moment.
He came out good, I'm proud of him.
He came out good.
I'm now working on the Costa to cut down some of the gym time and finish school.
Da Costa, is that your real name? Is that your first name?
No, it isn't. It's my last name.
Oh,
it's my real name.
Okay. All right, so tell us a little bit about you.
Well, really and truly, most of my life is in the gym. I compete, powerlifting, bodybuilding.
Right.
But, you know, one really has to have a main goal and objective, and for me that is becoming a physiotherapist, which I'm almost through and completed. So you can look forward to seeing me out there pretty soon.
Tell us about some of your accomplishments with the bodybuilding competitions.
Well, last year was my first year of competition.
Oh, really?
And I actually came first in my category.
Oh, wow.
And second in juniors, and I also entered powerlifting, of which I am Jamaica's strongest person.
Wow!
So,
you trained Jamaica's strongest person?
From the 3 persons who entered, you won.
Were you one?
Not yet, but this year. Definitely.
So you're training him to enter the competition?
Of course, man, he's entering into the senior category. Senior physique.
Senior physique. Senior, say? Up.
All right, so we're hanging out here at Ribby's. Why is Ribby's your chill spot?
Where else in Jamaica you can get this kind of vibes? The food, excellent. The music, great. Even the liquor tastes better at Ribby's. You know? My favorite, definitely a Sunday night. Big people music. Love it.
But speaking of food, I'm excited about lunch. Who else is excited?
Boy, I can't wait.
All right, so I think I see the food coming there.
Nice.
Well, how was everybody's meal?
Well, my meal was good enough, but I'd have preferred some potato and stuff like that. I like it.
As a gym man.
As a gym person.
Can't come on camera and eat anything else other than a salad, you know?
I know, other than a salad. But how was yours?
Mine was delicious. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Always get it right.
So do you have any other interests outside of the gym? Any hobbies?
If I could travel every week, I would. I like going to different places, you know. I love track and field. I will watch track and field all day. In my head, I'm an athlete. You know, run
Is
a
this
few
true?
100 meters.
But in real life?
From my perspective.
No, not in my head.
All right.
In my head, I'm an athlete. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know about that because he has no hand-eye coordination, so he can't run. Save his
Listen,
life.
I have run many a 200 meters with my favorite athlete of all time, Veronica Campbell Brown Graham.
In his head.
In my head.
In his head.
We run the curves at every Olympics and every World Championship, and I can't wait to run it with her at this year
Have you
again.
ever met her?
Yes, man.
In your head?
I'm a deuce. In real life we have met. In real life we have met. In real life. But I enjoy traveling. And when I'm not traveling or at the gym, I like to spend my weekends at one of the best place in Jamaica to be.
Where's that?
Clearly Adam and Eve Day Spa. I mean, I love to be pampered.
Perfect. That sounds exotic and nice.
Oh,
It
God.
makes me want to go.
I
Favorite
mean,
place
it's
in
just-
Jamaica.
You should check it out. You should check it out. It's very affordable. And of course, the ladies are extremely
Would you get
good at what
massages
they
or
do.
you do like a pedi or a
Well, the way I
mani-pedi?
love it, you know, I do everything. I mean, I have a very stressful job. So at the end of the day, come on, after 2 drinks on a Friday night, who don't want to be pampered?
Agreed, agreed. If you could offer one word of advice to young people who want to pursue their dreams, what would it be?
To believe in yourself. Go after your dreams. Set your own goals. They might not all come at the same time.
Right.
But just keep pushing. It will happen once you believe.
Well, Desron, thank you so much for sharing your chill spots
It was
with
certainly
us.
my
I had a
pleasure.
good workout today. I really enjoyed my meal here at Ruby's. So thank you very much. Also to you, thanks for joining us.
You're most welcome.
It's our pleasure.
We've come to the end of another epic episode of Chill Spots, and as usual, I enjoyed all my activities and the good vibe hanging out with Desron Graham, branch manager of the Washington Boulevard National Commercial Bank. Until next time, I'm Candy for Chill Spots. So do you have any other interests? Wow,
no, interests. I have a lot of interest.
Yes.
Cut.
Working at the bank, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I know. That's all right.
If you could offer one word of advice to younger people who want to pursue their dreams, what would it be?
First and foremost, believe in yourself. All things are possible once you believe.
Right. Is that a line from a Whitney Houston song or something?
Cut. No, Whitney song not say that.
Hi, I'm Richard Pandoy, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies. You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
Cake decorating is one of the sugar arts that uses icing or frosting and other edible decorative elements to make plain cakes more visually interesting. Cameo delves into tasty cake decor this week. Mother and daughter duo Yvette and Allison Balfour own and operate Sweet Mischief Jamaica.
I'm Yvette Balfour. I'm one of the owners of Sweet Mischief Jamaica Limited. Our business started about 6 years ago. It really started with baking my nephew's wedding cake. You know, he wanted something special. You know, he knew that myself and my sister Annette, who had started business with, could bake. So, you know, we said, okay, we'll do his wedding cake. And we did that, and everybody really loved the cake, you know. And after that, our first official job was making a medical cake. My niece, she had just graduated med school, so we did scrubs, and it had the pills, the syringes, everything on it, you know. And after that, business kind of took off. Sweet Mischief Jamaica, we do novelty cakes, cakes for all occasions, from birth, anniversary, bridal showers, weddings, you name it, we do it, you know. We do corporate type cakes, cupcakes, some pastries, like where we do cheesecakes, and so, you know. Sweet Mischief has been around for about 5 or 6 years. You know, the name came about from reading actually a book, and the name of the chocolatier in the book was Sweet Mischief. So I thought, boy, that's a nice name for a business, so that's how the name Sweet Mischief Jamaica came about. Our process starts basically with client contact. They decide, you know, what they want, what design they want. Sometimes they might come with their own design. Sometimes they will come in with an idea. You know, for example, they want like a movie theme cake. They don't have a picture of what they want, but they're able to convey to us exactly what they want to see in their design. After it's agreed on the design, the size, because our cakes are designed based on your need. We don't want to give you too big or too small a cake, so it's created and designed based on what you need. The flavor is decided on also, because we have several flavors. Cakes are baked, they're cooled overnight, because cakes freshly baked cannot be dealt with. They cannot be frosted, they cannot be fondant covered. So they're left to cool overnight, and then first step is shaping your cake, then crumb coating. Now, crumb coating is basically just a thin layer of frosting applied to the cake. It's then returned to the refrigerator to set again, to cool. When it comes out, it is frosted, refrigerated again, and then we start the process of fondant covering. Once the cake is fondant covered, then we can begin to apply designs, whether it be stencils, cutouts, edible sheets. It's applied at that time. Now, if your cake demands a three-dimensional topper, that is usually made at least 4 days in advance, whether it be baby shoes, giraffes, whatever. It's done beforehand. So that is the final stage where you apply your topper, your greetings, and then it's boxed and ready to go.
At Sweet Mischief, I'm pretty much the creative aspect of it. I deal with the customers as well as I do the administrative part. So I will deal with the finances, I deal with marketing, I deal with social media, customer relation management. Knowing your family, I mean, their family, they're always going to be there, so it helps with the relationship, working together. There's a synergy between us that it's hard to develop, and it's something that's been building over the years. So working with my mom and with close friends, it makes the job easier. It takes a certain passion for cakes, for creativity, for you to be able to materialize what someone is envisioning, because persons come in and they don't necessarily know what they want, and for us to be able to create a cake that fits their event, that fits their personalities or the personality of the person that they're giving the cake to. So I mean, that in itself, you have to have some level of creativity, or it's gonna be just a cookie cutter business that you're just putting out gift box cakes and it's just nothing really. It's something that everybody sees all the time. I think you should find your niche in the market. Novelty cakes, they would really enhance an event. It goes outside of just doing a regular sheet cake. You're capitalizing on various events, various milestones. So, I mean, a group of people gathered is just a meeting. Once you have a cake, it's a party. We're able to capitalize on each event, each milestone. You have birthdays, anniversaries. We did the ATL cake recently, which was a Hollywood-themed cake. So, I mean, various events, you can use cake to celebrate it. Well, when I started cakes, I mean, there wasn't anywhere out there that offered formal training, specialized training for novelty cakes. What we did was we had to take to the internet. We watched a lot of videos, did a lot of research, and pretty much it was just trial and error. Just trial and error. We had mistakes along the way, and we had to just turn to the internet and Google, oh, how do I fix this? How do I fix that? Even some of the cakes that you see on the internet or stuff, they don't work in Jamaica. We have heat, which is the worst. So, I mean, you had to find ways to work with it. Capital is always an issue out here. Getting capital is one of the biggest issues with small businesses. So, I mean, we were self-funded. So pretty much we had to just put some money aside and plan properly when it is we needed to buy big equipment, big items. So, I mean, that in itself, and getting a loan without any form of collateral, for me, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I didn't have a car, I don't have a house, nothing. So that in itself is a big challenge. But clients we get from word of mouth and through social media, so Facebook and Instagram. That's really where I get 3/4 of my customers, and word of mouth. So moving forward, I would definitely capitalize more on wider marketing. In the future, Sweet Mischief would be offering the full event package. So we want to do from start to finish, not just the cakes and the pastries. We're going to be offering the event planning aspect. So we deal with the caterers, decorators, find the venues, everything. So it's really a easy process, one-stop place, Sweet Mischief.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357, or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 cross spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Camille Flim of Cake Couture Jamaica has been a sugar artist for 4 years. She talks to us about her business.
Type of cakes that I make are, of course, custom cakes. They're sculpted for the most part. I do offer desserts for dessert stations. We do cupcakes, baby shower cakes. Pretty much the sky's the limit. If there's anything that you can conceive in cake, I can make it for you. I've been a sugar artist for about 4 years now. I kind of stumbled upon it. I have 4 kids and I have parties for them all the time. So I decided I didn't want the conventional square or round cake as much as we love our favorite Précy Place. So what I decided to do was I tried to make it. Based on that and having all those parties, the parents that came fell in love with the cakes that I did, and it was from there that my business was born. I have no formal training. It's really just about trying to figure it out for the most part, and it has been a wonderful experience so far. From start to finish, what you'd have to do is you speak to your client first. Once you speak to your client, you have an idea as to what the event is. You have birthdays, weddings, any of those occasions. From there, we determine the size of cake that for serving purposes or just for display. And then a lot of research goes into it. Normally I'm provided with a picture or an image, be it an invitation or another cake that they found online. But I prefer to have the bespoke element into it. I prefer if I could make something specially for them. So I ask them to send me multiple images, let me know what it is that they like from each image, and then from there we create something specially for them. I am a painter, I am a cake decorator, I am a sculptor, all in one. I do all those things. It's just the medium that's different. So when you buy a piece of art that's painted on a wall, I paint on a cake. So it is very creative in that respect. And then of course it is envisioning what the client wants, and from there creating a masterpiece. This can definitely be monetized because it's safe to say that every day of the year is a birthday. And so I have the potential to make money 365 days of the year. People get married, their anniversaries, there's always something special, and you just can't have an event without cake. Jamaica, the weather is probably our #1 culprit. If it's too rainy, you find out melts. If it's too hot, you find out cracks. So that has been, for the most part, the most difficult challenge, along with the lack of resources here. People go online and they see all these beautiful cakes. They don't realize that a lot of the products that are used to make these cakes are not available here. So I'd have to say those are the two biggest challenges. And I'd say the third one would be, well, the price factor. Most people don't want to pay for this kind of art. It really does take a special occasion, which I understand, because it's kind of hard to spend a particular money on something that you're going to consume. But you have to bear in mind that it's art nonetheless. Other challenge I can speak of is the diversity in pricing. You know, I'm thinking that a lot of persons out there don't understand what work that is entailed, and they tend to not charge accordingly. So when you have one person charging $50 and the other person charging $10, you know, sometimes people can't afford the creativity aspect and they just have to go for what they can afford. So if we try and keep it a little more standardized, I really think that it would be better for cake decorators in general. To address those challenges, I would say people need to sit down and work their costings out. Most people charge based on materials, and they don't charge for their labor. They don't charge for what they do themselves, and they need to understand that their time is money, and it's a valuable asset. Or we need to start having specialized areas, establishments that would cater especially for cakes. I've been made to understand that we have about 409 cake decorators island-wide. Yes, so it's a pretty big thing, you know. There are actually schools that teach it. You know, you have courses at UTech, you have courses at Hearts. So I think more persons have grown to love and have had a passion for this. You know, I'm so blessed because my passion wasn't as a child. I didn't dream to become something like this. It's becoming an adult and seeing what it is that I can actually do that has driven me. I can say I'm obsessed with cake. Inevitably, what I'd love to do is to have a storefront so that persons can come in, sit, eat, relax, enjoy. And I'd also love to start teaching. That's my passion right now, to teach other persons, you know, specialized flowers or just basic decorative elements as well.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Hosting a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, products launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Leanne Morrison of Leanne's Sweet Tooth specializes in designer cakes and pastries.
Well, originally I started out doing sciences because at Immaculate it was either business or science for me in my head. Then I realized I hated that, so I went to UTech and did a certificate in pastry making and cake decorating. After that I really liked it and I got that with merit, and then I decided to do the degree in culinary arts and management, so I just completed that. People always have a concept of what they want, but they're not always sure of how exactly it will look. So they'll see like different cakes out there, like on Pinterest or Google, and they'll have like 4 or 5 ideas and be like, I like this, but I don't like one specific cake out of all 5 of them. So what I'll do, I'll be like, okay, tell me what exactly you like from each of them, and then I'll put it together, draw it up and show them, and then they'll be like, oh, that's what I had in mind, or can you tweak that? So it's creative in a sense where people have the opportunity to get exactly what they want and I can mold it for them. And once you're doing the process also, like, they'll be like, oh, I want that. But then you'll be doing it and you'll see, oh, I could use that, or you could add like a bit of pink there or something. So I think it's creative in that sense where you can just do whatever you want with it. I do everything from scratch. So it's creaming the butter and sugar, putting everything together, baking it. Then what I do is freeze the cake so that it's sturdier, but I don't make a tough cake. My cakes are light and fluffy, so working with them just at room temperature, it can break or come apart. So I freeze them so it's sturdier, put together. It's a lot of freezing and icing, and then depending on if it's just an icing cake like this one, or if it's covered in fondant or whatever, then icing, it would just continue from the frosting, but the buttercream has to be completely smooth, and then fondant, and then do all the decorations. But because there's so many different types of cakes, like simple ones like this, or elaborate wedding cakes that have cascading flowers coming down, I mean, the process could be a day to up to 2 weeks, depending on what it is. I feel like you can't put a value on creativity per se. It's what you monetize is your time, the time it takes to do this or do the elaborate wedding cake with cascading flowers. But creativity is not something that you can be like, that's gonna cost X, because I'll be doing a cake and I'll tell you, okay, this will be X amount of money, but I'm doing it and I see that there's a need to add maybe a piece there or an extra flower, but I would never be like to the client, oh, it's gonna be $500 more because I added an extra flower. I just saw the need, and I mean, it's gonna make it look better. Having specialty items here, like whether it be tools or ingredients, like say for macarons, the French macarons, the little things that you sandwich, they use almond flour, which isn't common to here. You have to import that, and it's quite expensive. So what would cost, say, $1 US in the States or €1 in France or whatever, would be way more here because we have to include the import cost. So you'll find that more specialty cakes and more elaborate cakes are going to cost more for people here, and then they're going to be like, oh, but when I was away, it wasn't that expensive. It's too expensive here, but you can't really control that. Like, it's just the fact of the matter that we're a third world country and this is what's available to us. So the biggest issue would be that things are going to cost more because we have to keep importing things. I think maybe one of the biggest issues with clients is that they're gonna always compare a custom cake person like myself to like a Sugar and Spice or a Price Mart, where they're getting a cheesecake for, I don't know how much you get it for, like $1,000. That's because they're using bulk mixes and it's, I mean, a wide margin of things, so they're more like less profit, bigger sale, whereas, I mean, I use all true ingredients. I don't use mixes or like cake mixes. Everything is done from scratch. So there's that kind of time, and then there's that quality. I use butter. I don't use shortening in my cakes. So there's that issue. They're not aware of like how much you put into the cake for it to be like this. And you really can't compare it. Like if you taste my cake compared to a PriceSmart cake, you definitely taste that one's from a mix and one's using regular ingredients, normal ingredients. You just have to stand your ground and maybe educate people like, I mean, okay, well, try it. See the difference. Look at the quality of things. Look at my cheesecake compared to a PriceSmart cheesecake. You're not getting jam on top. You're getting fresh fruits or freshly made toppings. You put in long hours on your feet doing sometimes tiny little decorations that break, and then you're like, no, don't break. Or you're assembling a cake and it tips and it drops, and so you have to love it because it's nerve-wracking, it's hard work, it's patience dealing with people, dealing with the actual frostings, and in a country that's so hot, and sometimes you have to do some weird things to keep it together. You have to love it because it wears you down, and if you don't love something and it wears you down, you're just gonna give up, and it's just gonna show in your work, and everything's gonna be off. An accountant, so she helps me with like my accounts and like saying, okay, well, you can do this. If you want to go into this baking expo, you can spend X amount of money before you're gonna run out, or you can allot this for this year for marketing. And so she controls the business side of it so that I know where I can put my efforts into different places, like whether it be shows or just doing samples randomly or things like that. My future goal or my plan always is to never be in the same place for more than a specific amount of time. So I always want to just keep learning, keep traveling, going to different places, learning from different people, and gaining as much knowledge and experience as I can. But maybe my sturdy goal, like when I'm ready to just sit one place and be an actual person, I obviously want like my own bake shop or cake place or cafe or cafes.
And that's it this week for Cameo. Even in the midst of our challenges, our creative industries continue to shine. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Webb.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.